it's Mermaid Minnow. Today we're going to be doing another episode of What the Shell? In today's episode of What the Shell, we're going to be talking about something that's a little bit scary in the mermaid community, and that is mermaid scams and scammers. So what I'm going to be talking about today, you can define scam as a variety of different things, but the specific things I'm going to be focusing on are people who provide or make mermaid tails and accessories that do not ever deliver the tail or accessory to you, or the other, that what you were promised is not actually what you got. What I want to talk about today is a few things, starting off with two really well-known examples of a business who provided something other than what was promised and a business who did not provide anything. And then we're going to be talking as well about some of the other ways that might present in smaller business capacities, or like, you know, just like secondhand as well. And then I'm going to talk about some tips as well on things that you could do to try and avoid being scammed, or if you do get scammed, because I can't guarantee it won't happen, things that will keep you safe and protected in those situations. So starting off with my examples, the first one we're going to talk about is the more recent of the two, and that is from Fairy Tales Bangkok. So Sia Shells on YouTube did a video about her experience with Fairy Tales Bangkok and how she found out that the tail that she was promised to be dragon skin silicone ended up actually being food grade silicone. So something that's completely different. So she had paid and was promised that it was dragon skin silicone, and when she got it, it was a little bit tacky. Now there's a concern that her tail itself might be toxic. We don't really know enough about this other silicone. I'll go ahead and leave a link in the description to her video so you can hear kind of more about her side and like everything that she's done and her reaching out to the tail maker as well. So you can learn a little bit more about that. But that's like the most common, most recent example of that. Thinking about, it feels like almost mermaid lore at this point, but very prominent business that didn't provide what they were supposed to was swim tails. So Nerdmaid Faith also does a video on this and goes into detail as to everything that happens. So I will go ahead and leave another link for her in the description if you want to learn some more, because for the sake of the video, I don't have time to go into every situation in depth. But essentially what happened is swim tails, they said that they were not getting enough business to continue making mermaid tails, and because one of the biggest problems they cited is that they were having a lot of knockoffs of their tails, which is true. You can still find, you know, knockoffs of swim tails to this day on Amazon and things like that. So that's definitely something that was going on. However, it would have been fine if they just decided to go out of business, but they had unfulfilled orders that they never refunded, they never sent out. It's just craziness. They just left in a big wave. A lot of people were taken advantage of in this situation and still haven't been paid. So that, again, Nerdmaid Faith goes into a lot more detail as to what happened, but that was a really big one that happened a few years ago that was, I mean, it affected and impacted a lot of people. And so that's kind of like some big, you know, companies that were reputable. Like, people with both of these situations, people felt like these companies were really popular. A lot of people purchased from them, and some people had great experiences. But unfortunately, as we came to find out, those experiences were not shared amongst everyone, and there was dishonesty happening somewhere in both of those cases. So check out those videos if you want to learn more about those. But some of those examples that might not be business oriented, that you might find more commonly, I think of when you think of scams, you think of secondhand, you know, purchases. So maybe a smaller tail maker, or even just like a person who purchased a tail, right? So what might happen is you might get a photo of a tail that you're really in love with, and you go ahead and you purchase that tail, and that tail gets shipped to you, and it comes and it's completely damaged. There's tears and holes and all this stuff that we were never explained to you. The color's wrong, all this types of stuff. So that's something that does happen, unfortunately, where the image of the tail that you saw is not the actual actual tail that was sent to you. Another example of just not getting anything is, you know, you purchase a tail off of Facebook Marketplace or off of, you know, one of those tail selling groups, and they send you a tracking number that's a fake tracking number. They just picked a random number, saw it worked, and it never updated. Or they, you know, you pay for it and they keep saying, I'll get to it, I'll get to it, I'll get to it. And then a family emergency happens and they ghost you. Now, I'm not saying those family emergencies didn't really happen. In some cases they might, and those are really unfortunate situations, but they should still pay you back. In those cases, a lot of those, they don't pay you back. And you're out a tail in both of those situations, or you're out an accessory in both of those situations because you either, it's unusable, or you didn't even get it in the first place. So that's more common, like smaller, and I would say just more often what happens in those situations when you're being scammed. Those are the most common of those scams. So, okay, now you know that kind of stuff happens, but like, what can you do about it? Like, how can I not be scammed when I'm trying to buy something secondhand? So firstly, I want to say, do not let the fear of scammers prevent you from being able to get something you want. So there are ways that you can safely purchase things that's not going to end up in a scam. Or if it does, you've got something to cover you. So first one being is, and this is the most important one that I have, is anytime you make a payment, payments through PayPal only. Not PayPal friends and family, goods and services. So friends and family has zero protections attached to it. I am sending $20 to my Mertender just because. I'm not sending $20 to my Mertender for him to get me a pair of goggles. No, I'm sending it to him just because. So if he doesn't end up giving me these goggles he said he'd buy me, he's my friend or family. That's a personal issue. PayPal doesn't do anything about that. Now, goods and services, that's where the protections lie. Now, goods and services does have a 3% fee attached with it that the seller ends up eating. So the buyer, let's say you're paying $100 for a mermaid tail, which that's a pretty cheap, pretty good deal on a mermaid tail, I'm not gonna lie. The seller is not going to get 3%, which is $3. So instead of the seller getting $100, they would get $97 because PayPal takes that for their processing fees. And I don't know, they probably list it somewhere on their website what the 3% is actually for, but it's theirs, it's PayPal's. So you're paying PayPal $3 in that case. However, that protects not only you, but it also protects the seller. So if you're a seller, you really should want goods and services, because I didn't even mention scams that go the other way. You want something that's going to keep everybody safe. So you do have the ability to, you know, kind of factor that in. So if you want to sell this tail for $100 or, you know, $150 plus shipping, you know, whatever, put in that, whatever that 3% would be, put it in the initial cost. So instead of the tail being $100, it'd be $103 or $105 even. So that way you're getting the value of the tail that you still want while covering that fee. Why PayPal goods and services is so important. I mentioned there's a fee, but why it's so important is you have accountability for both of you, because PayPal, you can open a claim. So let's say someone sends you a tracking number that's bogus, or you wait a couple, it's supposed to ship. Let's say it's supposed to get to you by 2 weeks, and 2 weeks rolls by and nothing updates, and the seller can't prove that they actually shipped it to you. You can open a claim with PayPal, and PayPal will take that money, the money that you paid, it'll put it in its own little like escrow account, and then they'll look at the evidence of what's going on. And if they can prove that the seller did indeed ship it, they will give the seller back the money. But if they can't prove the seller shipped it, then you, the buyer, will get that money back. So it's a really good protection in that case, even looking at it from the seller's perspective. So it really is vital that you should use PayPal. And if someone says they can't use PayPal, that is bullshark, okay? There is no reason that someone can't use PayPal unless they did something on PayPal, and they shouldn't be selling things anyway or buying things anyway. So anyone can use PayPal. Anyone can sign up for a PayPal account. You don't need to have a credit check. If you want PayPal credit, yes, but that's not PayPal. PayPal is a free service, so anyone can do it. So please, 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 please do PayPal. Don't do Facebook. Don't do Venmo. Don't do Apple Pay. Don't do Cash App. Don't do anything else. Use PayPal, okay? There may be some other, sites that do have that protection, but here's the thing. PayPal's been around forever. Back when eBay was a wee little baby, PayPal came out and was like the thing that eBay used back in the day. PayPal is 23 years old. It is not a new site. It has been around the block. It has seen everything, 23. You've been through some things, PayPal's been through some things. So PayPal is a really, really wonderful resource to use, and it's safe for you. So outside of PayPal, what are some other things that you can do? One thing you can do is ask for photos of the person in the tail. Now, that's a little bit of a weird one because there is unfortunately people out there that will take advantage of that. So some people may not feel comfortable taking photos of themselves in the tail. And recent photos is important. A photo from 4 years ago is not how the tail looks today, okay? So making sure you have a recent one. So if they're not willing to do that, have them write your name on a piece of paper. Have them put that piece of paper in a photo with the tail. Ta-da! It's a recent photo. And another thing you can do, especially if it's a business, is doing research. Google search it. Look and see the name of the company. See if there's any reviews. Honestly, the best place to find reviews is on Facebook or any sort of app like that, because on their website, you can delete negative reviews. It's your website. You can do whatever the heck you want with it, But Facebook, it's a lot harder to get reviews removed. Like, they don't like that kind of censoring stuff. So they're not going to, you're going to find a lot more, well, in most cases, you'll find a lot more honest reviews on Facebook. Now, I say most cases because just like there's scammers, there's drama starters, and some people might have been rubbed the wrong way and post fake reviews, but there's a process that people can do to remove those reviews. Now, it's not always easy, so here's the thing to think about. When you're looking at reviews, people are going to be really happy with what they got, or they're going to be really upset with what they got. They're never going to review it if they feel meh about it, okay? That's the truth, because we don't want to spend time, promoting or not promoting someone if it's okay. So just kind of see what kind of ratio there is. If there's a lot of negative reviews, maybe you should go with someone else. If there's a lot of good reviews, sounds like maybe it's a good idea. Who knows? But looking into those reviews can really help, as well as researching in actual mermaid forums. So there is the Mern Network. On that website, it's a forum. So you can go ahead and sign up, get into that forum, and you can look specifically at scammers. So they talk about a lot of different scammers there. And it is an opinion-based forum. There are some moderators. To my knowledge, it's not very active anymore, but there are some moderators that do look through that stuff. But another really good place is a Facebook group that I'm actually a part of called Mermaids Beware, Scammers, Merverts, and More. So that Facebook group specifically requires you to have proof of your claims. Otherwise, they do get deleted and you get booted from the group. So it is a pretty, there are ways you can still, with anything, there's ways you can falsify things, but it is a pretty legitimate group in that sense. And it is good, I think, out of all of the different scamming groups I've been in, that's my favorite. That's the one I feel like is the most consistent and really helpful. So looking into and researching those things are also really important. And trusting your gut. If it seems like somebody's being a little fishy, they probably are a little fishy. So if you don't feel comfortable with somebody, if they take days and days and days to respond to you, it could be that they're going through a hard time. I'm not here to throw judgment on someone, but maybe it's not the right time for them to be selling. Maybe it's not the right time for you to be buying from them. Now, I'm gonna say this to you because I am this Mer too. I know when we see the tail of our dreams, we are so excited. We need it right then and there. We don't want to miss out on it, especially if it's secondhand. I've purchased secondhand before. I didn't mention that, but I have. I was so excited. I jumped on that. I was so ready, and the person I purchased from was in communication with me. There was one day that they did kind of ghost me, but they said it was a family night. They did tell me the next day, I'm so sorry, it was family night. I've sent it, blah, 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 and sent me tracking, and it was all legit. There truly are people out there trying to sell and get more people into mermaiding. So I have sold stuff on different groups as well. So I'm not saying that people are going to just inherently scam you. So I'm not saying don't buy anything secondhand, only buy from specific companies. I'm not saying that. I am not saying that. I'm just saying be aware. And again, put things in place for you so that way if ship goes down, you're protected. You got your little dinghy, you got your life vest, whatever. This metaphor's weird, but you've got it. You are okay because you did what you needed to keep yourself protected. So that's all I have for you guys today. If you did enjoy this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and give it a share. Honestly, I never say that, but this is something we need to talk about a little bit more in terms of scams because we need to be more educated. We all do. I could learn some. So on that vein, if there's anything I didn't mention for tips or anything like that, please go ahead and post that down in the comments below. If you're not already, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel so that way you don't miss out on any videos as they come up. And you can follow me as well on my different social medias, which are also down in the description. So I'll see you with you guys in the next video. Bye!